The wine moved softly across the plain of Kurukshetra, carrying dust and the faint cry of distant horns. Arjuna stood upon his chariot, his eyes heavy with the burden of thought. The air trembled, for though the armies waited, it was silence that ruled the field. Krishna's gaze was steady, his presence bright yet calm. "Arjuna," he spoke, his tone neither commanding nor gentle, but timeless, "you have heard of wisdom from the realm of spirit. Now hear of wisdom through action." The warrior turned, the words brushing his mind like cool rain. Action. He had heard of renunciation, of stillness, of silence beyond the senses. But now the Lord spoke of movement again, of fighting, of doing. Krishna's voice deepened, the very air bending around his meaning. In this world, no one remains without action. Even in inaction there is motion, even in silence, intent. But the wise act without the hunger of result. They act because it is their nature, their duty, their offering. Arjuna felt the weight shift within him. Could there truly be action without desire? Could a man fight without hope of victory? The thought seemed impossible, and yet something in Krishna's tone, calm as the ocean, promised that it could be so. The light changed upon the field. The chariot horses snorted, stamping the dust. Destiny waited, silent and patient, as the whisper of a greater truth unfolded in the air. "Arjuna," said Krishna, his eyes alight with compassion, "when a man acts for reward, he binds himself. Desire is the thread that ties the soul to the wheel of consequence. The wise cut that thread and act in freedom." The words struck deep. Arjuna felt their truth, yet he resisted. "But how, Lord? How can I draw the bow? How can I fight, if I seek no fruit?" Krishna smiled, a glint of dawn upon his face. "You have the right to work, but not to the fruits of work. Do not make reward your motive, nor let the fear of failure paralyze your arm. Perform your action in balance, untouched by gain or loss, success or defeat. That balance, O Arjuna, is yoga." The battlefield shimmered under the growing sun. Arjuna saw before him kings and brothers, the clamor of pride, the illusion of glory. Yet somewhere in those golden words, "act without desire," he felt a strange liberation. The chains of "what if" and "what then" began to loosen. Krishna continued, "To act for result is bondage, to act for dharma is freedom." The wise offer their deeds to the divine and are untouched by outcome, as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. Arjuna breathed slowly, the dust of war mixing with the breath of wisdom. The Lord's words entered his heart like a spark in dry grass. Still he feared, but a new understanding had begun to dawn. The morning had brightened into gold. The cry of conches rolled across the valley, yet upon Arjuna's chariot there was stillness, two figures suspended between thought and eternity. Krishna's tone softened, like music in deep meditation. "He who is balanced in pleasure and pain, in gain and loss, in victory and defeat, is fit for immortality. Balance, Arjuna, that is the gateway to freedom." The warrior lowered his gaze. Balance, how simple the word, how hard the living of it. Within him raged 1,000 storms: love, anger, grief, duty, pride. Could the mind ever rest unmoved among such tides? Krishna looked toward the horizon. When the mind is drawn by desires, it drifts like a boat in the wind. But when the mind is steady, fixed in the self, it becomes the lamp that burns unshaken in a windless place. Let your reason be that lamp. Arjuna felt something loosen, a knot long hidden beneath armor and sorrow. For the first time since dawn, his breathing deepened. He sensed that the battlefield was not merely of earth and men, but of thoughts, of passions, of the self against its own shadow. The Lord's words lingered, "Balance is victory. Detachment is peace." Around them, the world seemed to pause, as if the very dust waited to see whether the warrior's heart would open. The chariot wheels creaked softly as Krishna shifted the reins. His eyes gleamed with quiet fire. "Arjuna, when you perform action as worship, you are free. Offer every act to me, to the eternal. Then even in the midst of battle, your soul remains untainted." The words sunk into Arjuna's being. He saw, perhaps for the first time, that surrender was not weakness, it was clarity. To surrender was to give up the thirst of I and mine, to let each breath belong to the infinite. Krishna spoke on, the ignorant act from desire, the wise act from awareness. The ignorant chase outcomes, the wise flow with dharma. Action offered to the divine purifies the doer, for no selfish fire can cling to that which is sacred. A light wind stirred. Dust glowed like gold around the horses. The battlefield faded from Arjuna's awareness, replaced by a vast inner sky. For a heartbeat, he saw life itself as movement through the Lord's will, each event a ripple on the surface of the eternal ocean. He whispered, almost to himself, then my duty, my battle, my bow, all are yours. Krishna smiled, the smile of infinity condensed in human form. Yes, Arjuna. Act, but be free. Work, yet renounce the clinging heart. When you surrender the fruits, peace blossoms within, untouched by success or failure. Clouds drifted above, casting vast moving shadows. The armies murmured restlessly, but on that one chariot time itself had slowed. Wisdom, Krishna said, is not in stillness alone, nor in endless action, it is in harmony. Yoga is skill in action. Perform your work with mastery and detachment, as an artist paints without craving praise, as the vine moves without seeking reward. Arjuna felt the bow grow lighter in his hand. For the first time since the war began, he felt not a soldier, not a son, not a prince, but a part of something eternal, a drop of light in the boundless sea of the Lord. Krishna's voice rose like thunder mingled with compassion. When a man's intellect is freed from delusion, when he neither rejoices in gain nor despairs in loss, when he stands firm in self-knowledge, he attains the peace that cannot be shaken. Then action becomes pure, neither binding nor burning. Arjuna closed his eyes, feeling the rhythm of his own breath. He saw how desire had chained him, how fear had blinded him. He saw that liberation lay not in running from the world but in moving through it with open hands. Lord, he murmured, teach me that art, the art of pure action. Krishna's gaze softened. It is already within you, Arjuna. Let understanding guide your bow, let detachment steady your aim, let surrender crown your victory. The sun had climbed high now, its rays spilling over the field like molten gold. The moment hung suspended between war and wisdom. Krishna's final words of this teaching flowed like a river. When your reason crosses beyond the mire of illusion, you shall become indifferent to what has been heard and what is yet to be heard. When your mind, once distracted, stands unmoved in meditation, fixed in the self, then you shall attain union. Arjuna listened, every syllable a pulse in his blood. The doctrine of Nishkama Karma unfolded fully within him. Act without desire, live without clinging, give without demand. He felt as though the chains of lifetimes had fallen away. The battlefield roared faintly in the distance, but it no longer frightened him. For the first time, he saw action not as violence but as offering, not as duty alone but as worship. The bow in his hand was no longer a weapon, it was an instrument of the divine. Krishna looked upon him with infinite tenderness. Rise, Arjuna. Be the instrument. Let go of results. Let the world move through you as wine through sky. That is freedom. Arjuna inhaled deeply. The noise of battle, the shimmer of steel, the cries of men, none disturbed the calm that had settled within. He bowed his head. I understand, O Lord. My confusion is gone. I will act. The chariot's wheels rolled forward. The army stirred. Above the plain, the sun blazed upon the faces of men, upon the dust, upon the eternal witness. And in that sacred moment between thought and deed, Arjuna entered the path of selfless action, the timeless way of Nishkama Karma, where work itself becomes worship, and every heartbeat echoes the will of the eternal.